Hello everyone, it's your host, your boy, Jet Black the one and only here with another exciting live stream. And in this video I'm going to be talking about the writing projects I've been working on recently and, my plans to write more in the future. So if you guys have been keeping up with the community tab on the YouTube channel, then you'll know that I have published 3 books recently. Uh, Two of those books were original public domain superhero guidebooks. Essentially, those are books where I create a bunch of superhero characters and then release them directly into the public domain so that anyone can use the character descriptions and illustrations in their own work, whether they be stories, movies, TV shows, games, etc. All those characters are open to the public so that anyone can use them. Volume 1 I did on my own, and I based some of the designs off of some of my friends, loosely inspired by my friends. Yo, Godzilla, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Volume 2 I actually did with Kratos. It was my first collaboration project, and that was pretty cool. Godzilla asked, "How are you?" Oh, fantastic always. Thank you for asking. How are you doing today? Godzilla said, "I'm doing well." Oh, that's great to hear, my guy. Volume 2 of original public domain superhero guidebook I did with Kratos. So we worked together. He made 4 characters, I made 4 characters. We made descriptions and illustrations for all the characters. And we wrote and illustrated that book all in one day and submitted it for publishing. So that was really fun. I really like doing projects like that where you like sit down and you're like, I'm gonna get something out today, and then you do it. So that's always really great, and I've been enjoying collaborating and working on stuff with other people. The next project that I published was called Flacco and Doc. Flacco and Doc is something that I actually did on my own, so that one wasn't a collaborative project. Godzilla said, "Oh, it's lagging." I'm sorry to hear about the lag, my guy. I hope that the connection improves soon, and I hope it's no issue on my end. I apologize if it is. Um, so Flacco and Doc is actually a pretty interesting story. So it's a superhero book that includes 3 original character descriptions and 1 original story. And again, all of the characters, stories, and illustrations in that book are also in the public domain, so that anyone can remix them, uh, you know, use any of the characters on artwork and use them on merchandise and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. Godzilla said, "Okay, it's gone." He said it was probs me. Oh, okay, no problem, Godzilla. But the premise of Flacco and Doc. So in the year 2000 XXX, a supervillain known as Torch Thrall takes over the world using mind control technology. Doc, a synth playing robot and skilled inventor, is completely immune to Torch Thrall's mind control technology. Flacco is a guitarist with a variety of instrument themed powers who was off world when Torch Thrall took over the Earth. Doc and Flacco are now working together to fight back against the Torch Thrall and save the world. And that's pretty much what Flacco. I currently only have 1 volume of that out, but I'm hoping to collab with John Mason sometime next week and potentially with Kratos next week for us to expand on the Flacco and Doc universe and do a spin off. So I think that'll be really cool. Godzilla said, "You really like giving out fictional stories and characters out to the public." I do. So a lot of big name superheroes should be entering the public domain within like the next 10 years or so. Like in 2030 and 2040, we should be getting like a whole bunch of superheroes from like Marvel and DC who just have hit their time where they just should be public domain. Whether they do or not really depends on some legal stuff, but that's something that I'm hoping for. In the meantime, I want to create more characters that people can use right now. Like superheroes that if you have an idea for some kind of story or book that you want to write, but you just don't know what characters you want to put in it, but you know you want to make a superhero thing, I want to create guides for you. Maybe you didn't have an idea for a superhero story before, and then you check out the guide and you're like, oh, this character's cool. I could do something with them. You can feel free to do whatever you want with them. I want to give people that freedom. And that's why I really like making these books public domain, and that's why they're all public domain. Um, Godzilla said, "It seems cool. I'm glad that you vibe." So I just named 3 books that I have recently published, and they're all available on Amazon, like right now. So what I'll do is I'll put links to them in the description box below. Now that I've talked about stuff that I have worked on, I'm going to tell you guys about stuff that I'm planning on working on. Like I said, Kratos, John Mason, and I are interested in taking the Flacco and Doc book and making a volume 2 that's a spin off story. So it'll take place in the same universe, but the theme of that book is going to be animals. And we're going to answer questions like, does the main villain's mind control work on animals? Are Flacco and Doc the only superheroes on that world? Is Torch Thrall the only villain on that world? Are there any like animal based superheroes? Are all the animals like just normal intelligence, or are some of them like sentient? We're gonna like visit a lot of stuff like that, and we're all going to try and put our own spin on that concept and tell our own stories that help to further build that universe. So that's something that I'm really hyped for. Godzilla said, "Are they the only sentient things on the planet?" So Flacco and Doc are the only two beings that we know of so far who aren't under Torch Thrall's mind control. Doc because he's a robot, and Flacco because he was off world when everyone was taken over by Torch Thrall. Um, but we don't know if there's anyone else who hasn't been affected by the mind control yet, and we don't know if there are any other superheroes that have been affected. So those are some questions that we're going to try and answer in Volume 2. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I would definitely recommend that you check out Flacco and Doc Volume 1 and Volume 2 when it comes out. Godzilla said, "Are they the only ones on the planet?" So there is way more going on. So imagine this guy finds like a magic torch, and with the torch, he's given these three incredible superpowers. And using the torch, he's able to create like this massive mind control satellite in the sky that takes over everyone on planet Earth. And that's pretty much what's going down. So the guy with the magic torch is Torch Thrall. He's the main villain of Flacco and Doc. And then our heroes, Flacco and Doc, are two guys with incredible abilities. One is a robot, one is like a magic guitar player, more or less. And the two are trying to stop Torch Thrall and free the Earth. So the Earth is full of people. The story takes place in like the not too distant future or the distant future, depending on how you want to go about it, because it's 2000 XXX. So we know it happens within 1,000 years from now, but we don't know, exactly when the story takes place. But it's kind of like a dystopian future that's been taken over by a supervillain. And it's about these two heroes who are trying to save the world. So it kind of has like a superhero sci-fi feel to it. And I've been really vibing with it so far, and I'm excited to work with John Mason and Kratos, if we all have the time, in order to expand upon this world further in Volume 2. But that's not the only thing that I've been working on. So Kratos and I today have started working on this thing that we're calling Heart of Heroes. And Heart of Heroes is going to be our superhero multiverse that we're working on, where we're essentially building a superhero universe from scratch together, creating our own characters that follow the same themes, and creating stories that take place in different cities, and then working to, over the course of multiple volumes, have these characters and settings kind of cross over with each other and establish them as one greater universe, all while still making all of this public domain so that anyone can use any of these settings and characters and illustrations in their own work. So that's something that I'm really hyped for, and that's something that Kratos and I are literally working on right now. Today we were working on creating two characters each and one story each. I finished my characters and my story. I'm still waiting on Kratos to finish up his story. He's finished his characters though. Ryan said, "Oppose white supremacy." Kratos said, "Why you gotta keep me awake like this?" Yo, Kratos, welcome to the stream. Is good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? So, Kratos, you mentioned being awake. Have you been working on that story, my guy? I was actually just talking about the Heart of Heroes stuff. Let's see. So he hasn't been working on the story, but he has finished up his characters. I still need to look over and review your characters. I'm not going to review them on stream though. I want people to actually check out the book once it comes out. Um, we should be submitting the book for publishing tomorrow if Kratos finishes up his story tomorrow. After that, I'll read through it, I'll like edit stuff, and I'll set up the Kindle Direct publishing forms for the paperback and the ebook version, and I'll do the cover design. I'm still trying to figure out whose character I'm going to put on the cover, Kratos. I really like your villain character's design. I think he's very detailed, but I also like my villain character design. And I like putting female characters on covers. I actually really vibe with that. Kratos said, "No, I'm not awake enough to write anything right now." He said, "I'll definitely be done tomorrow." Okay, ballin'. Ryan said, "Superman." Yo, if you guys are interested in learning more about Superman, I actually did a comic review video right before this. And a new Superman comic came out today. So, ayo. If you guys want to hear about that, check out that comic review that I just did. Thank you for mentioning Superman the other day. I mean, a moment ago, Ryan. Godzilla said, "What if we play AI Dungeon 2 in that setting?" So, in the setting of Flacco and Doc, I think that could be interesting. We were originally thinking about collabing um, via AI Dungeon 2, like writing these stories through AI Dungeon 2 and then publishing them in the public domain. To be honest, I would love to do a collab with you guys where we played AI Dungeon 2 with the goal of publishing whatever the game was in the public domain. So we don't have to worry about like character rights or anything like that because in the public domain, everybody owns everything and we can have fun and I can like add everyone as like a collaborator. Like I can, on Amazon, it can show your like username or your real name if you want that. That'd be like up to you as like a co-author on like a bigger book that we all made together. I just think that'd be dope, but that would be based on whether or not you guys would be comfortable doing something like that. But based on our AI Dungeon 2 campaigns we've been doing on Wednesday, we can create coherent, really interesting stories together. So it's up to you guys' comfortability. Ryan said, "That is too exposed." He said, "Hide, please." Jack Slash said, "Hey, yo, Jack, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do any questions for your boy and do any discussion topics you like to talk about on the stream? Also, don't forget to smash that like button. Really appreciate it." Kratos said, "Why not put them both on the cover?" So, if I were to put Kratos' character and my character on the cover together, I would need the version of Kratos' character that doesn't have a background, and then our backgrounds aren't transparent so they wouldn't be able to like be too close to each other or you'd have like blocks overlaying each other's characters like it would look kind of weird. Also, putting multiple characters on the cover could look a little cluttered and it could cause the character images to be so small that they don't look clear, like you wouldn't be able to fully tell what's going on with it. So I normally have like blown up images of the characters on the cover of the book, and it gives you an idea that like, hey, this is a superhero book. Hey, check this out. You might want to like read this thing, you know. Um, so that's why I normally only put one character on the cover of the book. Jack Slash said, "What's up, yo, Jack Slash? What's up with you? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well." Godzilla said, "Hell yes." He said, "I would love that." I'm glad that you vibe Godzilla, but we'd have to figure out if everybody vibes with it. Ryan said public domain sounds like communism. Jack Slash said bet. Godzilla said the thing is that if I was helping, I would probably want my name not in the book or my username. That's fine. If you don't want any credit, sure. Hey, that's totally fine with me. Ryan said, "Y'all should be real communists, though." Jack Slash said, "Already added a like." Oh, thank you kindly for smashing that like button. Truly appreciate it. The Kratos said, "I can do that." And then Kratos said, "Nick, I can do it." Are you talking about getting all our characters together where they look correct, like in a group picture? Because it would be cool if we could start doing covers where all our characters are grouped together. Now, I know of a website that allows you to remove backgrounds from images, but the issue is if we use a white background for the characters and then we try to remove the background, it can do weird things like make characters' eyes transparent and stuff like that, which you don't want, or white details on the outfits transparent. So I kind of stopped fucking with that because Depending on what color you pick, you could lead into like weird circumstances that you don't want. Godzilla said, "No credit, please." Yeah, that's totally fine, Godzilla. I can 100% not credit you if you don't want credit. Kratos said, "I can put the characters in external image editing software, which I have and know how to use. Make the background transparent, adjust them to look good, then export it as its own picture." Yeah, ballin'. I mean, that sounds similar to what I would have done with the remove background thing. Jack Slash said, "Wait, can I be a part of that? It sounds like fun." If everybody's down, I'd be down for us trying to do an AI Dungeon 2 campaign that's used as more of a collaborative writing project where we all work on a book together. I think that would be fun, and that's something that I'd be down to do with all of you guys. It would probably be the biggest collaboration I've ever done in terms of writing, considering my most recent biggest collaboration I'd ever done in writing was with Kratos, and that was just one other person. So as soon as you add more than one person, things get big, big, big. So I think that would be cool. Godzilla said, "I would love that." I'm glad that you guys vibe. I'm glad that you guys are excited for stuff like this. Kratos said, "Yes, but it's a lot more consistent and impossible to remove stuff that I don't want to. Like I can literally draw transparency." Nice. Okay, yeah, that just sounds good to me. I would love for us to be able to have our characters actually like closer to each other and do like group shots. Um, do you think that's something that we'd be able to do by tomorrow? We don't have to do it by tomorrow, but if we could, Kratos, then I could submit the book for publishing tomorrow. Because I'm really excited for us to get Heart of Heroes out there. I feel like Heart of Heroes is a bigger step than what we did on our last collab because we're working toward building like a universe now. And I think that's going to be really cool. Kratos said, "I can definitely do that tomorrow." Okay, ballin'. Vanessa Brooks said, "Hi." Yeah, Vanessa Brooks, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Ryan said that Trump announced that he is ending immigration into the USA by executive order. Has any other country done that? That seems really weird. Jack Slash said, "Do you need my deviant art?" So the only hesitation I have about the deviant art is that we're publishing these books into the public domain, which means all of the illustrations and writings in the book are open for literally anybody to use. So you wouldn't retain the rights to your art. You would essentially be giving it away for anyone to use in any way they want. So I wouldn't offer it unless you were okay with that. If you were okay with that, though, yeah, that'd be totally fine. Um, to be honest, if anyone wants to contribute to these projects, whether or not they want to offer like character descriptions or character art, feel free to do so. And what we can do is if you offer a description, somebody can illustrate it. If you offer an illustration, someone can write a description. You know what I mean? If you offer both, great. Like there are definitely ways that we can work around this and make this into like a big collaborative project. Let's see. Kratos said, "Hello, Vanessa. How are you doing?" Vanessa Brooks said, "I'm doing good, Kratos. How are you?" Hey, nice, nice. Socializing. So I have about half an hour left. I have plenty of time to keep going and to keep talking with you guys about stuff. Kratos said, "I'm fantastic. Thank you." So, one thing that I would love to do, but I feel like it's unrealistic of me, I would love to be able to like publish a book every day, which I used to do. I used to do stuff like that, and I have a lot of fun with it. But with the stream schedule and everything, it just doesn't seem realistic for me to try and publish a book every day. But I'm going to try on the days where we don't do a poll or AI Dungeon 2 to try and get a book out for you guys. I was hoping to get a book out today, but Kratos and I are still working on it. But hopefully, we'll get a book submitted for publishing at the very least tomorrow. Real quick, yo, Kaylee, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Kaylee said, "Ape." Let's see. Godzilla said, "I have a cool idea." And then he said, "Where kaiju?" Hey, if you want to like create a where kaiju character, that's totally fine with me. Vanessa Brooks said, "Do you like Blackfire or Starfire and why?" Like from like a character standpoint or like a sex appeal standpoint. Um, Blackfire, I've only really had a lot of exposure to through the Teen Titans like animated series everyone watched as a kid. Starfire, I actually know a little bit more about how she is in the comics, and I kind of like the new 52 version of Starfire, who's like, I was a slave and now I'm on Earth and now I'm free and I do what I want and I don't give a fuck what anyone else says. I really like that. So I'm a fan of Starfire in that regard. If I knew more about Blackfire, then I could comment more on her. But I think she's an interesting character for sure. Kaylee said, I'm hyped for the book for the talent show. Hey, I'm glad that you're hyped. So my girlfriend is actually hosting a talent show in our Facebook group message. And the first original public domain superhero guidebook that I wrote is what I'm going to be submitting for the talent show. So that's going to be really cool. By then, Kaylee, I should have a bunch of stuff out. I actually already have 3 books out that I'm going to link in the description, but I haven't linked yet because I've been talking. But don't worry, they'll be there at some point. Kratos said, I'm sorry I couldn't get mine finished today. I was just so busy with work. No problem at all, Kratos. I totally understand, and hopefully we'll be able to get it out tomorrow, so there's no issue. Jack Slash said, is there any way I can get connected with you about this? Um, I need to make like an email or something that's just for this kind of stuff. Because I don't want to give my email because I kind of use it for everything. So I need to. You can always hit me up on the Amino. So we have a nickabenson Nation Amino. And if I can grab the link to that, I can send that to you. And that's a community where you can reach me pretty easily. So that would probably be the best way to get to me. Ryan said, remember how I hate appeals to common sense? Understandable, Ryan. Godzilla said, or like a person that turns into a kaiju. Hey, I mean, that's cool too. I feel like a person who turns into a kaiju sounds really familiar. Like, I feel like I know a character that's kind of like that. Kratos said, Nick, we can make a Heart of Heroes email that we both have access to. That's true. I could see that. Um, we would more or less be like password sharing on that. Who wants to make that? Can you make that? The Heart of Heroes email thing? And then we can use that together for Heart of Heroes stuff? Let's see. Ryan said Hitler called the USA's racist system of immigration and naturalization common sense. That adds fire to the flames of why you hate common sense. Or people using the term common sense. Kratos said, I can do that. Ballin'. So, Jack Slash, we currently don't have an email, but soon we will, where you guys will be able to submit your own character descriptions and character illustrations that we can then publish in these books to the public domain so that anyone can use these characters, which I think is going to be really great. And remember, you can submit written descriptions and you can submit illustrations. Either one is fine. Just make sure it's like an original character that you created and not anything connected to any like licensed property. You know what I mean? Like just something straight off the dome from your imagination. Godzilla said, I think that some characters in Attack on Titan are, but I have no clue because I did not watch the show. Oh, like characters who can turn into giant monsters? Yeah, that's the thing on Attack on Titan. I haven't seen Attack on Titan, but I know that much. Jack Slash said, amazing. Thank you so much. No problem. No problem at all. So that's something that's currently in the works, that email address thing. If I can find the link to the nickabenson Nation amino, I can just pop it into the live chat like bloop. And then you'll have access to that. So give me one moment. It's probably on my YouTube channel somewhere. Oh, shoot. I didn't know that you could just Google the nickabenson Nation amino and it pops up just in a normal Google result. The more you learn, my guy, the more you learn. So I'm going to head over to the channel and go into the live chat and post that link. That way you guys will have access to it. I'm also going to make sure my TV's muted so that I don't accidentally cause like a feedback loop or something. But I'm going to post that amino link in the live chat right now. So in the meantime, you guys can hit us up on the amino. But soon we should have an official email address where you guys can submit stuff. And I should probably make a video that's straight up about that. Izanagi said, you can't write a story in 3 days. We've written stuff in one day, Izanagi. I've written stuff in one day. But anyways, Izanagi, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you like to talk about on the stream? Ryan said it's Hitler's birthday. Izanagi said that's horrible. Izanagi, how have you been? It's been the weekend. It's been a minute since we've done like a big stream and got a lot of people in. How you been? How you feeling? Let's see. Kaylee said you can for sure write a story in 3 days. Yeah, like it really depends on how you're feeling and how the flow is going in your creativity. Izanagi said, but a good story? I think it's weird to associate quality with time because I don't think they necessarily have to go together. Let's see. Ryan said, probably not a coincidence the regime chooses today to implement fascist immigration laws. Godzilla said, you can write a story in 20 minutes. And then Kaylee said, yes, a good story. And Godzilla said, I tried it. I feel like when it comes to like writing stuff at a certain pace, if you feel like you struggle with it, it definitely is like a practice makes perfect kind of thing. I know in high school I used to take creative writing class, and in that class each day you had 10 minutes to try and write something that you would then share with the class. And I would always use that 10 minutes to write plays that I would then have my other classmates perform. And that was always really fun. Also, in college, I went to this club called Writer's Block, which was like a creative writing club. And that was a similar thing where you were given like some kind of premise or writing challenge, and then you only had like a certain amount of time to actually write out a thing. And that was always pretty fun. Let's see. Izanagi said, let me ask you this. Do you think a story made in 3 days will likely have the same quality as a story made in 3 months? It really depends, to be honest. Oh shit, we just already have an email address. Okay, cool. Thank you, Kratos. That was really fast. So I'm going to share the new email address that we have. You guys will be able to submit character ideas and illustrations that you would like us to publish in our books, character descriptions and illustrations here. And remember, they will be put into the public domain and they need to be your own original characters. So I'm going to put that email in the live chat, and I am also going to put it in the description box. So I'm actually really hyped about that. Let's see. Ryan said, y'all should watch Beastars. I know Beth has been super hype about it. She really wants to watch it. Izanagi said the key word is likely. It's possible. Some people can work on a story for 3 months and not even write that much. Like it really depends on like your headspace and like Kaylee said, the skill set of the writer because different writers are good at writing different things. Um, it all depends. I had a coworker back when I was working with Millennium who was really good at writing descriptions of food and what it was like to eat food. That doesn't necessarily mean that he could write like a whole like cookbook necessarily or like a whole like Lord of the Rings level epic or something like that. But on the top of his head, if you asked him what is it like to eat a Rolo, he could go into like really detailed description of what it's like to eat a Rolo. You know what I mean? Like different people are just good at different things when it comes to writing, and it's hard to base that off of time. You know what I mean? I don't think time is innately required for quality. Let's see. Kratos said, you're welcome. Kaylee said, that depends on the experience and skill set of the writer. Izanagi said, you can't be like, it depends. I'm asking for a probabilistic answer, the likeliness of one over the other. I think it does depend because we're talking about a very subjective thing. It's very hard to put like objective fact on what it means to create art and the constraints of what makes good art because good art is subjective in the first place. Does that make sense? Let's see. Godzilla said, hey Nick, can I just send it to the amino? Yeah, you can totally just send it to the amino. Both are definitely options, and I'll put both links to both in the description. Kratos said there is no probabilistic answer because of how many factors there are. And more importantly, that the fact that those factors are subjective. They don't have like an objective proof to them. If we could objectively create good art then why don't we just use computer generated art for everything? Because then you could put the objective rules for what makes good art into a computer and it should be able to make it. Let's see. Izanagi said, they might not write much, but it's likely to be well defined. Maybe. Again, subjective stuff. There are a lot of factors that go into it, like what Kratos said. Ryan said, y'all ever seen Casablanca? I think I might have seen Casablanca. Izanagi said, but that's literally anything in life. Well, there are things that are more objective that you could talk about, like 2 plus 2 equals 4. There are things where there isn't room to argue as much, and then there are things where there's definitely room to argue. You know what I mean? So it just feels weird to be like, this is one of those things, and it's like I just feel like it isn't. It's like if you were like, cotton candy is the best flavor, prove me wrong, and it's like, what? That if you think it's the best, more power to you, but that's just subjective. So if you're like, good writing takes time to write, prove me wrong, it's like that's subjective. Like if that's what you think and that's like your opinion, then you're totally open to it, but you can't really prove that. Kaylee said 3 months will give more time to dive more deep into a story, but I wouldn't say 3 days can't create a good story. Well, it also depends on how you spend those 3 months. You know what I mean? If someone writes a book in 3 days and another guy writes a book in 3 months, if the guy who writes a book in 3 months is very on and off of it and he's not really thinking about it that much and they kind of like get into it and they get bored with it and they come back, that doesn't mean it'll be bad. There's just so much going on with like your hypothetical, and we're not talking about like the same person writing a book in 3 days versus writing a book in 3 months. You're talking about just in general, does the amount of time define the quality? You know what I mean? And I feel like there's not enough to go off of. And even if you did try to add more details, it's still super subjective. Izanagi said we still need to come up with general ideas/assumptions for things as a whole, regardless of the number of factors. I just still think you're trying to debate something subjective as if it's objective, and that's actually more the flaw of what's being discussed. Gazelle said, all right, cool. Izanagi said, so has any of your books blown up then? Well, I don't expect any of them to blow up. I don't really market, you know what I mean? I do know that the other day, like on April 18th, like 4 or 5 of my different books were all hit up at the same time, and I thought that was interesting. And they weren't even like my new books. Like multiple books that I published maybe like a year or two ago got hit up at the same time on the same day by American readers and Indian readers. So it was like international readership, and I thought that was really cool. And that occasionally will happen, stuff like that. So, you never know. But I like the idea of people stumbling upon them and getting into them. Let's see. Jack Slash said, I'm waiting for the app to download, and I was thinking of a character that has a necklace that can turn him into mythical creatures. Ooh, that seems pretty dope. I'm hype to, like I said, for anything that you guys have ideas for, to do illustrations of. And if you guys already have illustrations, I'm down to write descriptions. If you guys have illustrations and descriptions, I'm down to put them in a book, publish them in the public domain for anybody to use. But I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to create, and I'm excited that we're all able to work together on this. Kratos said if it takes 3 months to make a good story, so be it. But if it only takes 3 days to make a good story, I don't see what's wrong with that. He said, and there are hundreds of stories that took years to make that I don't like, whereas I like a story written in 1 day, and a lot of people will feel the opposite. Because it is subjective. Because when it gets down to it, what a good story is will vary from person to person. So quality of, like the amount of time, like a quantity measurement of time, I don't think will directly relate to a good story. You know what I mean? They don't have to go together. I also know about stories that I've like had trouble writing before, where I spent like a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do and ended up just dropping the project altogether, just like not finishing the story. Versus stories where I sit down, you just get that really good creative flow, your mind's just coming up with ideas, and you publish a book in a day. Like stuff like that just happens. But it's so variable. It's like how writer's block and stuff works, where sometimes you're just like really on it, and sometimes you're just not. Like think of anti-writer's block, where with writer's block you can't really think of anything. Anti-writer's block is like I'm thinking of everything. I just have so many ideas. You know what I mean? Stuff like that happens. That's why I'll like have times where I'm publishing a book, like multiple books every week, and I'll have times where I'm just not writing anything. You know, stuff like that happens, and it varies from person to person. Let's see. Izanagi said there's a difference between this is my taste and this is the way to do things. One is pure opinion, the other is an ideology crafted by experiences and philosophies. So, this is a way to do things when it comes to art is still subjective because art is like a way of expressing your creativity and there really isn't a wrong way to express your creativity. You know what I mean? Like you can approach it any way you want, and that's totally fine. Godzilla said, "If I want to get good inspiration for giant monsters, I go to r/imaginary behemoths to get me a cool idea." Hey, now I learned that there's an r/imaginary Marvel the other day on Reddit where people draw Marvel superheroes, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm also pretty sure there's just an imaginary superheroes Reddit where people draw like original superhero characters. But I think the last time I checked that, it was not super active. But I do agree. Looking at people's art is a great way to get inspired and to like come up with ideas. And it doesn't have to be like on Reddit. I spend a lot of time reading like superhero guidebooks and watching superhero shows, and that can get me pumped and like give me ideas for doing stuff that's outside of the box. If I see a character who has like a unique power set who's never really like explored that much in a comic, I may be like, well, what if I wrote a story where I explore on that power set more? Or if I think of a power that I've never seen before in a book, I could then think of like interesting ways to apply it. Stuff like that's always really cool. One way to get some cool inspiration, DC is now releasing a new comic book every day, and I'm gonna be doing daily comic book reviews about those comics. So if you guys are interested in checking out those reviews, it might be a good way for you guys to know what's currently going on in the comic book industry, and maybe that can influence your ideas for like superheroes and stuff like that. If you're into writing superheroes. Izanagi said there is room to debate about probability, but that doesn't mean there aren't still trends that should be acknowledged. So if your books are things that would succeed if you advertised, then why not advertise? It seems like you don't have confidence in them actually being marketable/good. I actually really like the idea of people stumbling upon my books. Whenever I see that somebody in like Brazil or in India or in the United Kingdom has like binged one of my books in a day, because it actually will track how many pages someone will read of your book and send it to you if they're reading like the Kindle edition or whatever. So you can see like how many pages they've been reading. Also, Kindle page rates for KENP, you get like royalties relative to like how much of the book they read and stuff like that. When you see that people like around the world are like stumbling across your book, people that you've like never met and never heard of, and they're enjoying your book enough not only to read like one in a day, but to read like four or five in a day. That always feels really good, you know what I mean? Whenever my friends check out my books, I appreciate it, but it's a thing where I'm like, I feel like they're checking it out because they're interested in what I'm writing, not necessarily because the premise jumps out. I like the idea that someone who doesn't know who I am at all found my thing and said, "Yo, I fuck with this. Oh, I want to read more of it. Oh, that's cool." I really like that. And that's an experience that I feel like I get more out of just putting something into the marketplace and just letting people find it. Because it's a thing where they can find it and then I'll know they found it. You know what I mean? Because it'll report the pages read back. Let's see. So Kaylee said it takes monies for marketing. You can invest in like marketing and stuff like that. Izanagi said Jet has a YouTube channel of 1.61 thousand who is a sellout. He can market. Um, I'm still not a big enough YouTuber yet to even market for other people. You know what I mean? I think you need like 10,000 subscribers before companies like Audible even like care to want you to market for their stuff. That's why I don't have like Audible ads or anything like that. You know what I mean? So even for big name recognizable companies, they still want bigger communities than what I have to actually be able to successfully market a recognizable service. You know what I mean? So I don't really think I'm there yet. I would actually need to be like 10 times bigger, I think, for me to really make a dent if I did try to market my stuff through my YouTube channel more. Kratos said, and we're not making the stories to make money or to blow up. We're making them because they're fun to make. I'm making them in large part because I want to inspire other people to create their own superhero stories, which is why we're publishing all these books into the public domain. Amazon allows you to select when you're publishing your book whether or not you want to like hold the copyright for it or if you want to publish it into the public domain. And we've been publishing into the public domain so that anyone can use these stories, anyone can use these characters. Because I want people to see a character or to see a story and go, that's cool, but I want to do X or Y with it and to not feel limited by what they can do. You can use the characters' names, you can use their likenesses, you can use the illustrations featured in the book, you can change any element about them and make them into your own thing. And that's part of why I've been so hyped to do this and why the last 3 books I've published within the last 2 weeks are all in the public domain. And they're only $1 if you want to get the ebook version. So they cost as much as these daily comics that DC is dropping. So if you guys are interested in just dropping $1 and checking out some of these books, like I said, I need to put the links in the description, but I haven't done that yet. So I need to do that. Izanagi said, but if books are being placed on the market and there's an expectation for it to sell, if there isn't, then why bother? Excuse me, sorry, I burped. At that point, you might as well just post it to the web without selling. Well, you get the added benefit of it being monetized. You could argue, why put ads on YouTube videos if you don't think that they're gonna get like a huge click through rate? Only recently have I been making a good amount of money on YouTube, but that's mainly due to super chats. That's due to Kratos. I don't know why. Kratos likes to do the super chat thing a lot. But I've made like almost like $40 this month on like super chat stuff. And I think in December through like ads, I think I might have made like almost 20. I was actually really surprised. I think a lot of people were just home for Christmas, and now a lot of people are home for the pandemic. So, yeah, so it adds up, I guess, but it's nowhere near what I make on like Fiverr when people do like direct custom orders. You know, there are just more profitable ways to make money writing stories that I honestly already am doing through stuff like Fiverr, where people straight up say, I want you to make a story for this amount of money in this amount of time. So Kindle isn't as much like, I gotta make money because I already can make money because I work like a full time job. If I want to make money from writing, people can just ask me to write stuff for them just for direct payment, which is better than royalties, like extremely better than royalties. So that's what I've been hyped. Kratos says, someone say super chat. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate it, my guy. Let's see. Godzilla said, alright, I have a cool idea for a creature design. Adding the base with an axolotl, those are really, really cool. And he said, ooh, what if it had like a really big horn that makes it look jagged and powerful, maybe? He says, maybe it has 2 tails and it's like that cool monster design. He said, maybe I could look at the design to see an enemy monster. Maybe multiple spikes. That might make it is like prey to a creature. I like the way that you think about monster design. How you think of like if it has more defenses, that doesn't make it seem like a predator. It makes it seem like a prey monster, something that's like attacked by something bigger. Uh, that's just an outside of the box way of thinking that takes like real animal biology into account. So that's cool. I actually really dig that. Feel free to post any character ideas that you have, whether they're descriptions or illustrations that you would like us to publish into the public domain, onto the Amino or at the Heart of Heroes email address that we posted in the live chat earlier that I need to put in the description, but I haven't put in the description yet. Worst case scenario, that stuff will be in the description like after the stream. So if you guys are like waiting for that to pop up, it'll hopefully be in once the stream's over. Let's see. But yeah, I definitely want to see what you guys have in store for submitting to the public domain. Izanagi said, do you actually care about any of the things you design slash create? It seems like all you want to do is put stuff out without driving for self improvement. I'm having fun, Izanagi. That's my main thing. I already have like a career. I'm already like living comfortably and like doing what I want to do career wise. I do YouTube and I write and stuff because it's just something that I like to do. And if I didn't like to do it, then I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? But if I wanted YouTube to be my career, I wouldn't be working in the field that I work in. I wouldn't have gone to college to do the thing that I want to do. And I'm happy that I'm able to do the stuff that I do at work. And I enjoy my job. But I just also have stuff that I like to do recreationally, and I think that's totally fine. Godzilla said, "What could be bigger and a stronger creature?" He said, "Let's do that all over again." And then he said, "It is really cool." He said, "Fantasy name generator can help you for a kaiju name." Ooh, if you guys like generators for inspiration, Seventh Sanctum is a website that does really cool, like random generated text and stuff like that. And they do like character names, character descriptions, power names, gadget names, stuff like that. I've emailed with the guy who runs Seventh Sanctum, and he says it's totally okay to use anything produced in Seventh Sanctum within your own books and stuff. Like that's totally fine. Similar thing with the guy who runs Hero Machine. I emailed with him, and he's totally fine with you using anything that you make in Hero Machine that's like an original character in your books. I've also emailed with the creator of AI Dungeon 2, and he's fine with you using any of your AI Dungeon 2 adventures in your books, though he specifically wants you to credit AI Dungeon 2. I don't think Seventh Sanctum and Hero Machine cared about that. Based on the email correspondence, I think the Hero Machine guy said it would be nice, but you don't have to do it. But those are a few resources that are really good if you want to like find inspiration for stuff, and also if you just want to straight like use stuff. Like if you're like, I want to write a superpower battle, but I don't have an idea for one of the characters, the Magical Knight generator is pretty cool. I was looking at that recently. I haven't used it in a story yet, but I still think it is like a cool idea. So where are we at? Izanagi said, and if you aren't advertising your stories, then people aren't even going to see these characters for them to be inspired to make superhero stories. So you would actually be really surprised how many people look up public domain superheroes. I've made like a Facebook group that is called Public Domain Superheroes, and I don't do anything with it, but people will occasionally like pop in, ask questions. Like it seems like it developed a following of its own. There's a website called Free Universe or Freeverse or something like that, and that's dedicated to hosting a whole bunch of old public domain superhero characters. There's a public domain superhero Wikia, which has a whole bunch of public domain superhero characters that people post. There's a huge community for this kind of thing. And because of the way that I name the books, it's not hard to find them if you just look up public domain superheroes on Amazon, which is something even I've done in the past before I started actually posting public domain superheroes on Amazon. So I think it's findable. I'm just not throwing it out there. You know what I mean? Yo, Go Boy Gaming, yo, Duplock. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you guys. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Also, don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Yo, Go Boy Gaming said hi. Duplock said, "What's good, my guy? Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well." Ryan said, "The best defense is a thermonuclear first strike and then teleporting to a different habitable planet." That sounds like some Jank Hero stuff. Jack Slash said, "You think the necklace needs some kind of limitations for transforming into mythical creatures?" You could say that the transformation takes like stamina. So once you transform, you're a little bit tired. So you have the power of the creatures, but you're not like running on all cylinders. You can make it where the transformations are like temporary. You can make it where if the character does too many transformations at once, that they end up being like half themselves and half the transformation, which can be good or bad depending on the situation. You can make it where the character doesn't always transform into the mythical creature that they want to transform into. There are a lot of different like drawbacks you can add to transformation based powers. If you're looking for inspiration on that kind of thing, DC Comics has a character, Dial H for Hero. Well, there are a whole bunch of people who have had the H dial, but he's a character who transforms into different superheroes, and you can look at that for inspiration, how they've set limitations on that, and made that like interesting. Ben 10 is another example of a transforming superhero, to where you could like see inspiration how they add limitations to the Omnitrix. Um, there are more transforming superheroes than that. Mega Man, uh, is like weird because he's transforming in a different way. But his transformations, they each have like their own like power, and whenever he transforms into one, he decreases that power. And once he runs out of power for that transformation, he can't access it until he recharges it. Stuff like that. There are like plenty of sources, but those are a few that you might want to check out. Let's see. Kaylee said, I've used Seventh Sanctum for years. I love it. I'm glad that you vibe with Seventh Sanctum. Ayo. Ryan said, my necklace needs limitations too strong. Yo, Ryan, did you know that in original public domain superhero guidebook volume 1, I loosely based the designs off of many of the characters, based the designs for many of the characters off of my friends, and that you are one of the inspirations for one of the designs, Ryan? Ooh, hit my elbow on the table. Let's see. Kaylee said Ryan's necklace holds the universe's secrets. Duplox said it has the location of Shrek's swamp. Ryan said, yes, I got all the rest after I converted all the rest of the universe into paper clips. Ryan said, but to get all them secrets, you have to smash it open. And I ain't letting that happen. Duplox said, and where I love every day of April OS 420. So I wanted to post in the group chat when it hit 4:20 p.m. because it's like April 20th, 4:20 p.m. 2020 or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like 4:20 at 4:20. But I was on the phone with Ryan and I wasn't thinking about it and I missed it. Let's see. Kratos said, "All right, I gotta go to bed." What time is it? Oh shit! I also have to go to bed. I didn't realize how late it was. Goat Boy Gaming said, "Good night. I gotta go, beautiful boy. Love you. Love you too, Goat Boy Gaming." Kratos said, "Good night, Kratos." Kratos said, "Good night." Goat Boy Gaming said, "Green Lantern can transform." True. It's based on like what constructs that he generates around his body, and then he has like a limited charge in his ring. Jack Slash said, "Thank you so much. No problem, my guy. I'll make sure to post all those links in the description that I mentioned before." Let's see. Duplog said, "You need ice for that." Ice for what? Ice for that wrist. Oh, you mean the elbow? No, I'm good, my guy. Ryan said, you mean 423. And then Go Boy Gaming said, good night, I'm bye. Okay. Catch you guys later. Thank you all for watching. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding, ding, ding. Ring the notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one only, logging out. I'm going to have links to the paperback and ebook books that we've been releasing recently in the description, as well as an email address to where you guys can submit your own character ideas and illustrations, as well as a link to the Amino where you guys can do the same. Thank you all again, and peace. Chickadee guy.